Okay, so welcome to Kitely, and it's the ESL vocabulary session. Now, I explained before that we will look at previous vocabulary challenges. Okay, now I know last week's vocabulary challenge was about swimming, but this week's is also a little bit about swimming, so we're not going to look at that. We're going to continue looking at our undies. Okay, we'll look at our underwear. You show me yours and I'll show you mine. Now, I was going to share a document in Word, but it's too small and the text is too small. So we'll do that on Google Drive in a minute. But first, what I'd like us to do is read a little bit, do a little bit of reading, and I've got to find my new piece. Okay, just a few sentences, and it's a timeline. Do you know what I mean by a timeline? If I asked you to create a timeline of your English learning, would you know what to do? Kind of, yeah, Shiny. You have a line and you have time on it, and it can be vertical or horizontal.
Actually, the history of
that's
something.
It is based in time. It's usually almost like bullet points, and sometimes you can, especially with the internet now, people do these really nice graphics of like the history of the royal family in the UK, and you can go across the timeline, and it is literally linear, and it'll take you from maybe modern day back to prehistoric times, and each year or each significant event would be placed on that line, and it's called a timeline. Okay, now have any of you ever created one at school or online? Any of you on Facebook?
Google Photos, for example,
That's it.
makes it for me, automatically.
It will create a timeline for you. So will Facebook. It will create a timeline of your posts or significant events, or insignificant events quite often. Yeah, the evolution of the CPU. Yeah, absolutely. The central processing unit. You can see that in a timeline. So if you were to Google timeline and something that you're interested in, an invention maybe, or as you said, the CPU, Sergey, you'll find lots of examples of sometimes designed timelines, other times not so well. And you can make your own. There's software online which will help you create an interesting timeline. You don't use FB. It's okay. It's not compulsory. You can also use Twitter. You can also use Google Plus. As April said, Google Photos will create a timeline for you. Okay. So we're going to look at a fashion timeline. Okay. And I don't know if you know what that actually means, but an M&S fashion timeline. Can anybody remember what M&S stands for? Or does anybody know?
Marks and Spencer?
Marks and Spencers, yeah. Not bad. M&S is what people usually call it. Oh, where did you get that? Oh, M&S. Okay. And last week I explained that M&S are very famous for their undies. Okay, but they're a big company and it's worth looking at their timeline. So I think we'll each take a year. Shiny, you were the first person to talk to me today. Would you like to read out the first part of this timeline?
Yes, 1884. Michael Marx brings his first store to Leeds Kirkgate Market.
Perfect. Well done. Yeah. And it literally all started off M&S, international chain now, multi-million pound company, if not billion, I'm not sure, but certainly multi-million pound company, probably multi-billion pound company. All started off on one little market stall in Leeds. The text is actually on my computer, April. So because I tried to share this, it didn't quite work. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. So Reem, you were the next person to talk to me. Reem, would you like to read the next part of our story?
Yes. Yes. In 1926, MS introduced cars into their stores. These were designed to create a further system system system, which was fashionable at the time.
Okay, not bad. I knew you were going to have a problem with that first one, but let's look at the number first. And I'd like you to just read it out to me, thinking about what I told you about that last number in a previous session. So it's 1920 what?
Yes, 6.
That's
6.
better. Yes. So say the whole thing. 1926.
1926.
That's
6.
Get it 6. Yes.
1926.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work on that one just to save your blushes. Okay, the next word.
Yeah. Yes.
You know why? Okay, the next word is silhouette. A silhouette.
Silhouette. What's the meaning? Silhouette?
Yeah, can anybody tell Reem, what does silhouette mean? What does it mean if you have a silhouette of somebody, or you can see a silhouette?
That's
it
more
a shape. Yes,
more,
it's a shape, but then so's a square and a circle. They're all shapes. It's a kind of shadow, yes.
Yeah.
It's a black outline of something or somebody. You can get silhouette art. You can have your portraits done as a silhouette. So it's like the profile of your face cut out in black paper, and we call that a silhouette.
Yes, silhouette.
That's it. Well done. Okay, the next one.
I will try before the fashion without look at the word fashionable.
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 Yes.
Fashionable.
That's it. Fashionable. If something is fashionable, it means it's in fashion. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not a fashionable person. I'm very unfashionable. I am. I just can't be doing with it. But some people, they've always got the latest fashion on. So a flatter silhouette, April, means, well, what is a bra? Okay. First of all, what does a bra do?
For me, a bra is just a protector.
A protector?
Not
I'm not sure if it protects much, but it's supporter. It's a supporter.
Not me.
It supports.
Mine doesn't. Mine don't need any protection actually.
Okay, so it
Sorry,
supports
Sergey.
your. It supports a woman's boobs. Okay. It can also be an enhancer. Anybody remember the Wonder Bra? It made you look like you'd got more than you actually had. Must have been very disappointing for some gentlemen. Okay. But I wouldn't call it a protector unless it was bulletproof. Then I'd say it's a bulletproof bra. It protects you. I'd say it's a support. We also call it a foundation garment. Yeah. Now, once you start wearing foundation garments, you know you're of a certain age. So, but this one was designed to flatten them, to give a flatter silhouette, so that you looked as if you weren't quite so bounteous. Okay. So that's what it means by
So
a
it is
flatter
maybe
silhouette. It was basically big boobs were not fashionable. And so ladies wanted to minimise. You can get minimising bras now. They'll take you down a whole cup size. Not unisex,
Oh.
Sergey. No, not unless you've got man boobs. And if you've got man boobs that need a bra, you really ought to go to the gym. Or change your shampoo. They have said that some types of shampoo can cause man boobs, you know. But no, generally for ladies, just the ladies wear bras. Or people who want to dress like ladies, which is okay too. Shiny's typing away furiously. I'm dreading the message. Okay, so let's carry on with this timeline. So M&S really did become successful as a result of making these bras, to be honest. It was part of their success. Okay. Yeah, some people don't want to be huge. I mean, other people have breast enhancement, breast enlargement. Some people have breast reduction. Nobody's actually happy with the boobs they're given, generally. I only know one person who's had breast enlargement, and she was super happy with them, and I was perplexed. I was perplexed. I was like, yeah, okay, well, she was happy, so what the heck. You don't know her, so don't even ask. Okay, so next person to contact me was April. April, would you like to read the next part of the timeline, please?
Okay, thank you. 1935, the first M&S textile laboratory is installed at Baker Street headquarters. It enabled the company to be first to sell new high-quality products, innovations for which M&S became famous. In Baker Street. What has Sherlock Holmes to do with this?
Indeed, yeah, it seems weird, doesn't it? You think, Baker Street, really? But yes, Baker Street, their headquarters were there, but I presume, I mean, I don't know if it was Baker Street, London. They were in Leeds, remember, so I presume it was Baker Street, Leeds. Okay, but a textile laboratory. What do you think they were doing? What were they doing in a textile laboratory? What were they trying to do? Why do you need a laboratory for textiles? What is textile? Can anybody remember our fashion? Yeah, experimenting on what? Oh, try taking the mic, because you're making me feel tired all this typing. No? Nobody wants to speak? On the material, yes. Textile is material. Exactly. Most English cities and towns have a Baker Street. It's not always the Baker Street. That's a nice example, actually, of Baker Street, any old Baker Street, and the Baker Street, the one everybody knows about. So you'd say, I presume every English city has a Baker Street. Okay. But yeah, textile, material, fabric. And they were trying to invent new materials, stretchier, more supportive. Monique wants to join us. Did she not get my message? She's normally very good at opening group messages, but there you go. Hello, Monique.
Hi there.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I apologise if you hear some funny noises. Leica is in the office with me, and there's a fly in here, and she wants to catch the fly, so she keeps chasing it. So if you suddenly hear a loud bang or something, I'm hoping she won't need to go to the vet again. Please, Leica, calm down. She's
Sounds
terrible.
exciting.
She just, it's her sport, you know. Like, never mind fox hunting, fly hunting in our house. Okay, so let me make sure I'm in the right text window. Close that down. Monique is very good at this topic. Well, we'll see, won't we? So yeah, textiles, development, you need a laboratory. And this was at a time, 1935, when a lot of innovation was being carried out in textiles. We had natural fabrics, and then suddenly we had these man-made fabrics, and people were experimenting on exactly what they could do with them. What can we create? What can we use instead of whalebone? We can use plastics. Instead of silk, we can use nylon. And instead of expensive lace, we can use manufactured lace. It was quite an exciting time to be around. Okay. And then, of course, the war came. But anyway. Bob, you were the next person to join us. So if you'd like to read the next part of the timeline.
Okay.
Oh, hang on.
The first.
Hang on.
That's the same.
Yeah, it's the same one. I've got a problem here. Hang on, my cut and paste didn't work. Sorry, Bob. Yeah, that's yours. So you've got the next year.
A central design department is established to keep up to date with fashion trends. Parisian designers are employed as consultants.
Very good. Well done. Parisian.
Parisian.
Yeah. Paris, but Parisian. And why Parisian designers?
I suspect they were considered as the most sophisticated, the most
trendy and fashionable, and they just had this je ne sais quoi. We always say that, by the way. They had a je ne sais quoi. They were considered the top fashion designers of their day.
Yeah, the most advanced. That's the word
I wouldn't say most advanced in fashion. I think of the most advanced as in technology or knowledge. I think they were the top designers of their day. They were the most fashionable, I would say. The most famous, yes, indeed. Okay, Artem's meant to be joining us, but I don't know what's happened to him. Let me just do a quick online check. Come on, Artem, you can do it. See if he gets that one. Okay, so any questions so far? Nope. Okay. Then Monique, I think you're next to read. You get the war years. Things changed a lot.
Okay. 1941 to 1945. M&S technologists work with government scientists to create standards for the Clothing Civilian Act 1941. Due to rationing during wartime, all clothing made during the Second World War was to match these utility standards. M&S develops a utility range of clothing that is functional, hard-wearing, and also decorative.
Ooh, what a shame. Sorry. It was a nice try.
Decorative?
Yes,
Decorative.
Decor. We say decor. And to decorate.
Decorative. Yeah.
Hi, Artem. Nice to see you. You got here. Well done.
Hello.
Okay, don't forget to read.
Found you.
You found us. Well, I sent you a TP. Two, in fact. If I wanted you to find us, I'd have made you do hide and seek. Okay, mute your mic for now because we're just talking about Monique. Thank you. So Monique, the first word there is rationing. Rationing.
Rationing.
Yes, to ration something. Now, Shiny's written a why, and I'm not sure. Can you write a full question? Because I'm not sure what you're asking why about, Shiny. Or take the mic. Why what? Why or why or why? Shiny?
Big. Yes, I'm talking. I'm afraid you will pick up somebody and instead of me, so I have to hurry it up to. Okay. I just say.
Was your turn? That's what you mean?
No. I mean, why did that make this kind of brought in the wartime?
Rationing. Everything was rationed in the UK during the war. You couldn't buy food without having. You couldn't buy it with just money. You also had to have ration tickets, and they were given out depending on how many family members you had. So you could get so much cheese, so much bread, so much sugar, so much meat, and clothes were also rationed. You had a ration book, and you could buy so much fabric to make your own clothes, or you could buy so many. You couldn't just go out and buy whatever you wanted. It was all rationed, and so the government wanted because by then Marks and Spencers were a large manufacturing company, and the government wanted them to help in getting the most out of the materials they had. Okay. And everything became utilitarian. Now, we talk about utilities, and they tend to be the things you use for your everyday life. Gas is a utility, electricity is a utility, but things can also be utilitarian. Does anybody know what that means? Utilitarian. Sergey, take the mic.
I think it's when you can take old things, disassemble them, process them somehow, and then assemble new things.
That might be to utilize. I think you're confusing that with the verb to utilize. To use what you've got. But utilitarian is more to do with design and practicality. Okay, so everything became mass produced and standardized in order to make the most of the resources that were available. So away went the lace. Lace isn't necessary on a bra or knickers. Away went the satin and the silk. Cotton's good enough. And it all became very practical. Everything was practical and a little bit ugly, it has to be said. A lot of schools are very utilitarian. They're not very pretty. They won't win any design awards. Is that okay? Do you understand? This settee that we're sitting on is quite utilitarian. It's not very pretty, is it? But we can utilise it. We can use it. It's what we've got. Okay. Okay, so let's carry on. Oh, I've lost my place. Okay, here we are. So back to Shiny, I think. And
what is hard wearing, Lynn?
Hard
what
wearing?
Does the hard wearing?
It means it lasts a long time.
So, I thought it was so hard, like
hard to wear. Okay, so for example, if you go into public buildings quite often, and this looks a little bit like a public building, doesn't it? If you look at the carpet I'm walking on, yeah. So this carpet is a typical utilitarian carpet, and it's probably very hard wearing. It'll last a long time, many years without wearing out. It's not a soft, plush, luxurious carpet. It's a utilitarian, hard-wearing carpet. Okay?
Utilitarian building. Utilitarian building has only 4 walls, minimum windows, and no sculptures, no something
Nothing
that might
extra.
please your eye.
No,
Nothing
it's
extra.
there to be used. Communism created a lot of utilitarian buildings.
Oh, you tell me.
I know. They were not best known for their flashy design, were they, or their architectural beauty? But they put a roof over people's heads. You know, it's. I always say to people, no, there's enough ugly in the world. We don't need more ugly. If we can build things that are beautiful and nice to look at, it's better for us as humans. But not everyone agrees with me. Okay, Reem had to go. I missed her, sorry. That's the life of such is the life of an everyday housewife. When the kids start screaming, you've got to go. Okay, then we're back to Shiny, I think. Shiny, here's your text. Post-war. The Second World War ended in 1945, so now we're post-war. But we still had rationing, by the way, just in case you're wondering. We had rationing way beyond anyone else in Europe for years and years and years. My mum still had her ration book in the attic. After she died, we were clearing out the attic. We found her old ration book. It was like, wow. So, Shiny.
Yes, thank you. 1946, a new textile laboratory opens to experiment with nylons, plastics, and other synthetic materials. Customers will really like these man-made fabrics that are easy wash, easy care, and fade resistant.
Very good, well done. Yeah, so suddenly they can start with their laboratory again, and instead of the natural materials, they start using synthetic. Okay, so synthetic materials. And there was a huge boom in the fashion industry using synthetic materials. And sometimes they weren't so nice. Can anybody think of a famous synthetic material? They've got one here, nylon. Can anybody think of other synthetic materials?
Like the leather? No,
that's a natural material. Lycra.
No, but when you say synthetic, and it's when they pretend just to look like leather.
Okay, yeah, that's a forgery. But yeah, plastic, again, that would be plastic.
Okay.
Polyester, yeah, polyester. Have you heard of crimpolene?
No.
I don't think anybody actually uses it anymore. It was disgusting, but crimpolene became, or is it crimpline? I'm just not sure now. Oh no, it's crimpline, sorry. Not a word I use very often. Crimpline. It was like a wonder machine. It was a wonder material, very stretchy, pre-lycra, and hilariously awful material. So flammable. And very sweaty. It didn't breathe at all. But I can remember crimpline. It was like a wonder material because it was stretchy. So, like lycra, it could fit anything, and it was cheap to make. And yes, what can I say about it? It was pretty disgusting to touch. It used to just like it was so. I mean, I love cotton. I love wool. Give me crimpolene, and I want to scream. Okay, let's carry on. I think April, you're after. Oh, Artem hasn't read yet, so Artem, let's give you 1947.
1947. Christian Dior's coral collection in Paris influenced the new look. The rest have full pleated skirts and nipped-in waists, and the style continues through the 1950s.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, the 1950s style. People nowadays, it's what we call sort of retro, and some people are very nostalgic for that style. Do you know what it means by a nipped-in waist?
No.
Okay. If you have a very small waist, you want to show it off. And so they started using what we call darts in the material to make the clothing actually follow your body shape more, so that you could see that, oh, it's a tiny waist. Sometimes it wasn't a tiny waist. Sometimes somebody would wear a corset and you'd fasten yourself up very tightly in this corset to give yourself an appearance of having a small waist. I can't remember who sort of made the small waist famous, but they were tiny. I mean, tiny. You could put your hands around the waist, if you can imagine that. I hope the person who did it had big hands, but yes, it is also a fashion that's come back in. But it's not healthy to have such a tiny waist. And that was normally created by corsets. Okay. In Victorian times, ladies almost killed themselves trying to get smaller. They'd cut themselves in half practically, so to get this tiny waist. So let me have a look if I can find you one with a nipped in waist. Okay. Okay, and men did it as well. Let's show this manly style of a nipped in waist. Okay, I'm hoping you'll be able to have a look at this. Yeah, well, people are absurd. We are absurd when it comes to fashion, especially. I hope you'll be able to see that one. But that would be a very good example of a nipped in waist. Cut to cut into the waist. Dope will be wearing that next week. Oh, maybe not.
No way.
Okay. So, yeah, people will do crazy things, Shiny. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and I just want to point out, Shiny just went away. I just want to, if Som watches this, Som, did you see that? That's what I meant about Shiny slumping over. We were talking about you last night, Shiny. Were your ears burning? Okay, so, ladies, could you help Artem with that pronunciation? Who knows that designer and who knows how to pronounce it? Anyone?
Christian Dior.
That's it, Christian Dior. Do you want to try it, Artem? Christian Dior.
Christian Dior?
Yes. It's nothing to do with Christianity or religion. It's just his name was Christian, and he was the designer. He's founded a design empire. You might have seen handbags with CD on them, stylized CD logo. That's Christian Dior. Have that label on your clothing. If it's genuine, you're adding 1,000% to the cost.
And a lot of counterfeits.
Well, that said, if it's genuine. I mean, there are a lot of counterfeits in there. I can remember seeing a Christian Dior T-shirt in Tunisia. It was something like £2. I was like, yeah, right.
But I think now that's not so easy to distinguish between genuine and fake products.
No. I mean, sometimes you can usually tell by the price.
Yeah, That's a good clue.
It's a good clue. It's a good clue. But if somebody puts the price on and pretends it's the real thing, it is very difficult. Troll beads. I don't know if you've heard of troll beads. They're very fashionable at the moment. They're jewellery made of silver. And these little beads. People collect them. And seemingly you have to be... It was on Rip Off Britain or something on the telly. It just happened to be on whilst I was in the room. I wasn't really fully watching it. That's why I'm not 100% certain. But they showed a woman who was... She'd bought a troll bead for like 600 quid. And she took it to the people who manufacture them in Norway or somewhere, and they said, "Oh, I'm very sorry, but it's a fake." And she was most upset. Bless her. Yeah, no, honestly. Okay, so we're up to 1950s and we're doing underwear, not clothing. If I have time, I will share this document when I can convert it into a Google Doc. I'll put it on the forum. Try and remind me if I forget and you're interested, just remind me. But I'm going to share a document with you now. So it's in Google Docs. Not branding. They weren't the only ones. It's unfair to say they were responsible. And it's been done many years before. They perfected it, I think. But I can assure you that there's a lot of in-country forgery as well. It's not just abroad. It's not just other countries that do it. It's a lot of money. You know, you can make a lot of money like that. Okay, so who have we got online? Let's have a look. We've got Anonymous Capybara. I don't know who that is, but Anonymous Capybara. Let's see who else joins us. So who's anonymous? Who can see the document now?
I can see it.
Okay, that's you, Monique. You are Anonymous
Capybara.
Anonymous. or are you Anonymous Oryx?
I don't know. Who am I?
Okay, can you tell those who can't see it yet what the article is about?
Okay, the article's the headline is "Every Woman's Fashion Essential." So it's something like, yeah, and how a bridesmaid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. How do they? I mean, have any of you, ever tried to make a bra?
Yeah.
This is for the ladies, not Artem. Okay, Artem.
Maybe why not? If you're a designer, why not?
No, exactly. I know it doesn't come anymore, but Ash used to design corsets. Okay, he used software to do it, but it was very good. It really was. He had fantastic software at university. And I think somewhere in Second Life I've still got one of his designs. And it was lovely, really nice. So yeah, men design bras. Marks and Spencers, they were both men. So, and there's a lot. They were very rich when they passed away, and their company's still going under their name. So don't sniff at it. You'd be amazed how much money you can make at these things. Okay, so I think everybody's in now. Who have we got? We got Anonymous Oryx, Anonymous Skunk, Anonymous Coyote, and Anonymous Hippo. And me. Okay, so Monique, you were the first one in the document. Could you read the first couple of paragraphs, please?
Hold on. Oh my gosh. Please hold on, because I just...
You can increase the volume. You can increase the text size.
Yeah, I zoomed it already, but I think that it was too much. Okay, so the first, okay, how a bridesmaid. Through the skills and close collaboration of Marks and Spencer experts and manufacturers, it is now possible for almost any woman in the country happily to buy over-the-counter the brassiere she needs for today's silhouette without recourse to a fitting room. Should I continue?
Yes, please. From the development, yeah.
Okay. The development of St. Michael brassieres into what are within the framework of the mass market essential fashion garments is a story of patience and achievement. The full telling of it is a tribute to the understanding collaboration of suppliers with the bra department at all levels and over a long period.
Very good. So if you notice, that word bra and brassiere are being interchanged. This was a change in the language. Brassieres were slightly old-fashioned. It was becoming a slightly old-fashioned term for what became known as the bra. But the word bra comes from brassiere, and that, of course, comes from what language?
French.
French, yes. Okay, very nicely read, no corrections, and yeah, well done, well done. Okay, so who would like to read next? I'm not quite sure how you came in, so, and I'm not sure who's who. So who can see the text? Just type up Mike if you'd like to read, and you can see the text. No? Nobody wants to read?
I would like, but someone is neighbor above me is drilling the walls, and I think you won't be able to understand what I'm reading actually. Do you hear that noise?
Oh yeah. What's that?
I have no idea. It's
No.
a neighbor above me.
But I can hear you now, okay. How come? I'll cut and paste. Oh no, I can't cut and paste, can I? No, I don't think I can. I can't scan it as text. So, okay, well, never mind. Then, Shiny, if you would like to read the next couple of paragraphs, please. Sorry, Artem.
Yes, thank you. It's a Saint Michael brought today overs. I can't read this word because it's not clear. And glamour instead of constant misery. It is not through luck. It is because executives in the department had the vision to plan a system of grading which would fit the great majority of women in over-the-counter, not fitting room purchases. Scores of models were examined. Dozens of averages worked out before the present size, and gradings could be decided upon. 300 variations.
Yep,
A major of their planning lies in the fact that the current bra range allows on size, color, and cup fitting alone. That is, not including styles of over 130 permutations. We style as well. This figure increases to well over 300.
Very good. Okay. Good. Well done. Nicely read. Okay, now, a couple of words for you first, and then we'll look at some of the actual vocabulary there. Offers. Not offers, offers.
Offers.
Not offers, off. Like off. Can you say off?
Off.
Yeah, offers.
Offers.
Yeah, that's it. Well done. Good. And then the word you couldn't see is comfort.
Comfort.
Yeah, comfort and glamour. Yeah, comfort. And then the next one is
Comfort.
grading, from to grade something. To grade it.
Grading.
Grading, yeah. So, for example, if you're sitting an exam, you want a good grade. You want, if you're doing a course, you want a good grade at the end. Grading. But you can also grade things by size. Small, medium, large. That's very simple size grading. Okay. Then the next one, purchases, not purchasers, purchases.
Purchases.
Yeah. And then it's not present size, it's present size. The size of people at the present, at the moment.
present size.
Yes. Then variations.
Variations.
Yes. So to vary, if things vary, they're not all standard. I mean, you have to admit, when it comes to humans and body size, we vary. There are many variations and different permutations. Right?
Permutation.
Yeah.
Permutations.
Permutations. We're all people, but we don't come as standard. How many permutations are there of hair colour, eye colour? If we were, let's all stand up. Can everybody stand in here? Okay. Shiny, Artem, Sergey. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'd like us to grade ourselves. Sergey, can you stand? Oh, nope. Artem's trying to kick you off the chair, Sergey. It won't work, Artem. I know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work. Not when somebody's sitting. You do it when they're standing, but not when they're sitting. Okay, now, if we look at this, if we grade each other in by size, I think I'm the shortest. Oh, my goodness. And then it's Shiny and April, I think. April, can you move next to Shiny? So we can see... Okay, you're about the same, and then I think Monique is the tallest amongst the ladies. Monique, could you stand next to Artem and just see who's the tallest? I think you're about the same size. Okay.
Oh, I'm a little bit higher.
So that's the grading. Now the permutation is we all have avatars, and you can pick up the same avatar, but you can put it together differently. You can. There are many different permutations of hair, clothing. You don't all have to be the same. Sorry,
it sounds like variation.
Yeah, almost like variation. Yeah, absolutely. The possibilities in which things can be ordered and arranged. Different permutations. Okay.
Okay.
Ladies, you can sit down now.
You're so polite, Artem. Half crushed. Sergey, that's you. DNA, yeah, DNA has, how many different permutations are there of DNA? Oh my goodness. Told you to learn big numbers. Okay, let's have a look. How many permutations of human DNA are there? Let's see if anybody can answer that on Google. Let's ask Google, my friend Google. Best teacher in the... Oh, Google's slow. He's calculating it. And I'll kill Google. Okay, we'll go to Forbes instead. So, how many possible permutations of DNA, of how DNA can be arranged? And...
Billions.
Oh, yes, more than billions.
Yeah.
Billions is tiny. Okay.
Billions.
There are 7 billion humans. We know there are 420 billion different variations possible. Oh. And how many different permutations there can be embodied in human DNA? It's it's a number so large I can't even write it out. You have to have the formula to write it out. It's basically practically to infinity, not a number.
Interesting fact. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So many permutations, a lot.
Yeah, how many? A lot. You cannot count them. That's all.
Ask Google. But yeah, I mean, the way you can rearrange something, how many permutations you can have of that thing, well, it's almost, and I should say, like variation, like varieties, but it's more to do with a group of things. Now you can have different varieties of things, but you can different permutations of the same thing. Okay. Okay.
What is the difference with the mutation then, Lynn?
Mutation, well, it's a funny word, mutation, because you could think of mutation as evolution. But if you think about mutation...
Yeah, nowadays I met lots of mutants, actually.
Well, people say mutation, but what is mutation? It's just a new arrangement. It's a different permutation of something. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And those things that work carry on to mutate in other ways. Those that don't work perish, I'm afraid to say. But yeah, permutation and mutation. A mutation is a different permutation. Okay, April? Oh gosh, you got another limit. That's far too much for a topic on bras and underwear. Okay.
Yeah.
That is Chinese fault. Chinese.
Yeah.
The
We are moving to science. And,
Do you think DNA has its limitations? Okay, now let me just put it this way. Maybe I can get hubby to come and give a talk on that, but I am not qualified. I think everything has its limitations, but when those limitations are in the hundreds of millions of billions and trillions and zillions, I don't think we need to worry about it just now. Okay.
Thank you. What a relief.
I think I got away with that one. Okay, so we'll leave that here because we've run out of time, as we always do. Any questions about bras? But have a look at the article as well, and you can see it's really interesting because the design might have changed, but the actual process is still pretty much the same. You have your designers, your cutters, your dressmakers, your pattern makers, and I think it's one of those things that I don't think has been really handed over to machinery yet, because the actual manufacture of this garment is so complex. Robots can't really do it. It's these things are still actually made by hand in a very similar way to this article. In fact, in a soap, there's a soap opera called Coronation Street. I've mentioned it before. And the ladies in that soap opera actually work in an underwear factory, and they all sit at sewing machines sewing together bras and knickers. So if you want a future-proof job at the moment, become a bra and knickers seamstress. How often do I replace? When they need it. I don't buy things just because they're new and shiny. I buy them when I think, oh, this is coming uncomfortable, or, oh no, the hook and the eye have gone, I can't be bothered to buy a new one, or it's all gone a bit, the elastic's going. That's when I buy a new one. But they last a pretty long time. I actually buy my bras from Bravissima. If Bravissima would like to send me some free samples for their plug, please do. So I go to England to buy my bras, okay? I used to buy from Marks and Spencer's, but I like Bravissima now because they're really pretty. You can look at them online if you want. You can actually see their website. They've got a lovely website, and you'll see how pretty they are. Bravissimo, where are they? Oh, maybe I can't find it under that. There you go. Here it is. Bravissimo. Bravissimo. There you go. They do swimwear as well. Okay, and lots of vocabulary on that website as well. Oh, yeah, the one thing I wanted to cover in today's session was it mentioned about the sizing. One size fits all does not cover bras. But do you know how bras are measured? What measurement do you take for a bra when you're looking at a bra to buy off the shelf? and nobody gets. Well, I suppose maybe Madonna gets a
First
bra.
size, second
I'm
size,
look.
Yeah,
Artem, you are not looking for bra, yeah? You, Artem, you are not bra. So you can't talk about that. You don't wear that.
April, you were saying A, double A, triple A.
Double A.
Yeah.
But they don't have it.
Oh,
They
bless.
don't have it for me.
But no, what they usually do is they obviously measure around the chest, but then they talk about cup size. Okay, the cup size. And the cup size is A, double A, up to, I don't know, I think some of them can be pretty crazy, especially with a little bit of plastic added in. You can get all sorts of different size to D and L, which are pretty massive, quite scary. But yeah, A to L.
Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly, April.
Bullet size.
Just huge. I mean, I think if you've got that size, you probably should think about breast
bullet
reduction.
size.
It can't be good for your back carrying that much weight around. It really can't. But you know, it happens. Some people are just well endowed. Okay. But anyway, we will stop there with our underwear session, and hopefully you've learnt a few more bits of vocabulary, maybe a bit more useful for the ladies than the gentlemen. But come Valentine's Day, if you do want to buy some nice underwear for your beloved, at least you know to ask her cup size. Okay, rather than standing in the shop going, she's about this big.
Are you going to buy bra for Evelyn on Valentine's Day?
Oh, well, no. And he knows not to buy me any because I buy my own. But some men like to buy that sort of thing for their ladies. Now, I do want to share a video with you. We're not going to watch it together because we haven't got time. But this is one of my favourite videos. Bear with me. Yeah, I've got to find the right one. It's... Okay. Okay. Bear with me.
Where the hell was I?
Okay.
There's no way out.
Okay, so this is from Father Ted. Do have fun watching it. You only buy... I'm not going to read that out, Shiny. But have a watch of that. This is how men can sometimes react to ladies' underwear, okay? It's very funny. So enjoy. And I'll be in TGIF in 15 minutes. I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea. And I'll probably come back and watch that video again because I just can't get enough of it. Okay? Have fun. Okay. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome, Shiny. Thank you. Thanks for coming.